Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. Today's training is on market trends. So this is actually one of the more popular topics because market trends, when you're looking at it, you're looking at the price trend and the volume trend. And these two can actually help you to answer a lot of questions that your clients might have, like what kind of property should I buy? Should I upgrade now? Which location? Should I buy new launch or resale? Is freehold really better than leasehold? So you can answer a lot of questions using market trend. Okay, it really depends on what kind of question they are asking you, and you can customize the filters according to what they are asking you. Okay, so you can compare projects, you can compare property types and subtypes, location, transaction type, as well as even the property sizes. So should I buy a 1 room or 2 room? That is also something that you can answer using market trend. So let's get started now. First and foremost, just a quick disclaimer, and then your account managers. Okay, so we have 3 ladies here. I always call them my Powerpuff Girls: Celeste, Sherry and Zuki. They are your account managers. So on the screen right now, you can see, depending on which agency you are from, these are the account managers that you should be looking for. Okay, so Celeste, Propnex. Okay, Zuki, Quite a Number, ERA, Savills, Knight Frank, so on and so forth. Sherry, Orange Tea, Huttons, etc. Okay, of course, sometimes they may be very busy. Okay, of course, not during the circuit breaker. They might have also their appointments. During circuit breaker, they could also be busy answering your queries, and also for the signing up and renewing. So you can look for them for anything really, not just for renewing or signing up, but if you have any form of question like which tool should I be using, or how to, if you face any form of technical issues or the display isn't correct or something, they would be the best person to look for. Alternatively, if they are really busy and you can't reach them and you need a bit more assistance, you can also contact us via the office hotline, which is on the top right, left-hand corner. Okay, of course, this is only during office hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Okay, so don't look for me. Okay, now before we get started, just to let all of you know, for those of you who are new to our training, just for this circuit breaker period, which should be ending in 10 odd days time, only for the training attendees who attend our training, you will be getting 20% off if you sign up for Pro Tools or Prop Points anytime from now until 6 p.m. Okay, so Pro Tools would be basically all the access to our analytical tools, including market trends. So you can go for a 1 or 2 year package. For those of you renewing with us, As long as your account is expiring within 3 months, you would be eligible to sign up for the Pro Tools promotion. On the other hand, we have another add-on product which is called Prop Points. Prop Points is more for leads generation. Okay, so if let's say you have your listings with us on EdgeProp, we would help you to do additional marketing. So not just the usual traffic that comes to EdgeProp website, but rather we would do things like this Google display ads, Facebook, all the social media and search engine advertisements. Okay, so you will only need to pay points when a verified lead inquires for your listings. Okay, other than that, you can also use Prop Points for some of our tools, which includes FSBO for sale by owner and featured enquiries, which is enquiries from buyers and tenants. So you can exchange your points for direct contact numbers of the owners, buyers, or tenants. Okay, so if you need a bit more details, contact your assigned account manager. They will be able to assist you. Okay, so today's training is more on the tools, which is for today market trends lah. Okay, now before we get started on market trend, I also want to share a little bit on this new product that we have, or this new page that we have, which is called EdgeProp Plus. Okay, EdgeProp Plus is basically developers engaging EdgeProp to do up or to create virtual tours for their show flats. Okay, so what happens is currently now we have a library of more than 20 show flats of the existing show flats in Singapore right now, and you'll be able to show them to your clients. I think this is really important during the circuit breaker period when people can't go around looking at show flats. So do explore the virtual tours that we have available by scanning the first QR code on the top. Okay, and we also have quite a number of guided show flat virtual tours. So what is the difference? The guided show flat virtual tours are guided by developer representatives or their appointed project ICs. So this one goes beyond the show unit itself, but rather it adds on also, maybe they would introduce the site plan, they will introduce the floor plan and all that. So do check it out also. I think it is really useful to be able to see how your project ICs actually explain or show the show flat. You could actually pick up a tip or two from them as well. Okay, now, so do check out both QR codes. They are all embedded within EdgeProp website. Okay, let's move on to the actual training today. From now onwards, I will be doing a live demo. I do have a couple of slides later which I can review later. Okay, but it's really just going through what we will go through during the live demo. Okay, just a quick reminder. Thereafter, we will have a Q&A session and a quiz. For the Q&A session, as and when if you have some questions, you can always post it on live chat. My account managers would be around to assist with the questions. Of course, if you prefer that I do the demo to answer your question, you can always leave it to the end of the session and you can post your questions in the live chat later. Okay, so that I'll be able to answer them directly. Okay, now let's go to the website now. Let me just switch this, toggle the site. Okay. Where did it go? Wait, okay. Okay, so you can see my website now. Let me expand it. Okay, so where is market trends? Actually, all our tools is housed under this header called tools, and market trend can be found under the left hand side if you're on a bigger screen, under the free tools section. But is this entirely free? I would say that you can, with a paid subscription, you will have a bit more access lah. Okay, there's more things that you can explore with a paid subscription. Okay, so I'm just going to click on market trends right now. Okay. I'm assuming most of you are already logged in, but if you are not, it is okay. Just see what I'm doing here, and then you can try it out later after the session, all right? Okay, so we are on market trends page right now, and you can see that over here, there are a few filters that you can put in. Okay, so let me expand this a little bit and push it over. Okay, so you can actually generate a trend by the project name. Example, if you want the trend for Rivergate, you can always type Rivergate and select the drop down accordingly. Okay, sometimes it may fall under different property types, so you would need to select the correct one accordingly. So in this case, maybe I only want apartment condo, so I should be selecting the drop down on the top. Okay, now of course you can also derive the price trends for price and volume trends via research. Okay, so if let's say you just want the trend for that particular project, it is actually not necessary for you to derive the trend from market trends. You just need to go to tools, research, key in the project name and the price trend, and all that would already be generated for you. Okay, so this is just an alternative way for you to generate for projects. And of course, this one will allow you to compare also. So later I'll share a little bit more on that. Next thing would be the tenure. So if you want to generate trends based on tenure, you can actually select over here all or the individual freehold, leasehold, up to you. Okay, and we also have the property types and subtypes. So you can see all the types here come with the subtypes inside. So you would be able to generate a trend based on the type or subtype. Okay, and what else? You can also look at the district 1 all the way to 28. Okay, just take note that in over here we have the different regions: central region, east region, north region, northeast, and west region. However, we do not break it down into the OCR, CCR, and RCR. Okay, this is because there is some overlap between the district and the three regions that is demarcated. So we decided that most of you would prefer to go by district instead. Okay, so this is how we break it up. And then we have the transaction type: all sale, new sale. New sale would be your developer sales. Sub-sale, okay. Sub-sales is basically all the transactions that is they buy from the developer and then they resell the unit before TOP. That is sub-sale. And then you have resale after TOP, and also rental trends can be generated. Lastly, you can also generate based on property sizes. Okay, so you can see the square feet or the square meter here. So if let's say you want to know how the so-called the one bedroom, the smaller units are doing in terms of the trend, you can always do a 0 to 500 for a small unit, something like that. Okay, now I'm just going to generate a very simple trend here, which is the trend for apartment condo. Okay, this is very common. Just one trend. I'm going to keep all the other filters the same. Okay, of course you would be able to have multiple filters or variables when you generate a trend. Just that, of course, with more variables, sometimes you may not know whether a change is caused by variable 1 or 2 or 3, okay? So this is just a simple one: apartment condo, whole of Singapore, all transaction type. So when I click on search over here and I scroll to the bottom, so I just double check that the results for is exactly what I have keyed in. Sometimes slip of a finger, you might end up clicking on something else. So just double check that you have put in the correct filters as per your own requirement. Okay. Now, when we scroll to the bottom, we have basically the chart for apartment condos, which we have generated earlier. And you can see right on the top here, I have a time bar. Okay, so this chart below is based on the default setting of last 3 years. Okay, of course there is slider 1 and 2, okay, where you can shift them all the way to the end. Okay, And just to let you guys know, just yesterday, last night only, latest update, we used to be only able to look at the time period of up to 10 years. But from today onwards, I am very happy to say that we can now compare up to the last 25 years. Okay, so from 1995 all the way until now, May 1995 until now, you will be able to see the trend. And I think that is very useful if you want to look back into the past. I think now we are looking at the situation caused by COVID, okay? And maybe we could also refer back to situations in the past such as SARS, the financial crisis, dot-com bubble, that kind of thing. So you can also use that to track based on the time period shown below. Okay, so this is very, very new. Even those who attended the market trends training, the last round would not have seen this yet before. Okay, just got it all in last night, midnight. Okay, last 25 years. And also, there is one more thing that I would like you guys to check out, which is the monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Okay, so by default, we will always be on monthly. Let me just minimize the time period. If not, all the bars are so tiny. Okay, so when you're on monthly, each of the bars would be based on the individual months. So you can actually see the average price, as well as the breakdown of the volume by new sale, sub-sale, and resale. This is because on the top here, I selected all sales, okay? But of course, if let's say you have only selected one of it, then it will just show the color of the type that you have selected. So because this is all sales, so I have new, sub, and resale, okay? I have all these three. Now, another thing is you have the average price here. This is the average price trend, okay? So I just like to show you guys when you toggle from monthly to quarterly to yearly. Okay, let me just scroll a little bit. Okay, do take note when you adjust the time period. In a way it's also time period lah. Whether you want to look at it in a monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis, the time bar on the top here would also change accordingly. Okay, so do take note when you move from monthly, quarterly to yearly to also make sure that you're looking at the same or somewhat similar timeline. Okay, why? Because when you toggle, we will also show you the growth rate. Okay, the growth rate from point A, okay, the very first time period, whether it is monthly or quarterly, all the way to the last period here. Okay, and you would be able to see the percentage growth. And you would notice that when you toggle from all these monthly, quarterly, yearly, the growth rate will also be adjusted. Okay, so this is based on last 20 over years. Okay, and you can see we are looking at 137% for apartment condo. And this is even taking into account that the year 1996 happened to be a bit on a high and then it went down, okay, because of the crisis that happened somewhere here. Okay, so from 96 all the way until now, prices have went up by 137%. So that means to say if you had bought a unit in 96, chances are your price actually at least doubled up. Okay, so now let's go back to the top here. So there are many trends that you can generate, but when it comes to market trend, what is very important is really the ability for you to do comparison as well. Okay, when you do comparison, it allows you to sort of benchmark. Okay, it allows you to benchmark your property against maybe other. You can do a comparison, or you want to see how is this particular variables doing as compared to the whole of Singapore. So there's many ways for you to do it. Let me just show you an example now. Okay, let's say I have a client, and client thinks that freehold is better than leasehold. Okay, very common. So is it really the case? Very easy. All you need to do is click on this button here called compare with other property types. When I click it one time, I can compare two things, okay, two trend lines. If I click it one more time, I can compare up to three. Okay, so let me just click one more time. So this is the maximum number of trends that you can compare, up to 3. Okay, now let me just do a comparison of 2. So I'm just going to close this. And so let's do an example. So I uncheck all. I want to compare freehold. I'll just put in 999. Okay, and I want to compare also apartment condo, but this time round I am looking at the 999. Just at the back of your head, do you think that the freeholds are doing better than the 99? Or do you think 99 could possibly do better than the freehold? Up for you all to guess. Let me generate the chart right now. Okay, I left all the other filters the same, just so that we can just focus on the tenure being the reason for the differences. But if you want to have more than one filter, you can do so. Okay, now so just double check over here under results for and compared with. Okay, so I'm looking at apartment condo, all district, all sizes, all sales. The only difference is the tenure, freehold 999 versus 99, which is green color. So red versus green color. Let's look at the numbers now. Okay, so now I am looking based on July 2017 to May 2020, and this is based on the monthly breakdown. Okay, and you can see that my growth rate for the freehold seems to be higher than the leasehold. Oh no. Okay, is it truly the case? Okay, I'm not trying to cite one over the other, but it is very important to also look at the changes. So you will notice that for monthly, there tends to be a bit more, the trends tend to be a bit more erratic, a lot more up and down, because it is really affected by individual month. Okay, so if you look at it here, if you compare, just nice for the month of May, which isn't even completed yet, right? We're still on 20th, and there could be still more transactions coming in. Based on the transactions that are caveated already, we are looking at 1009 versus 1006 PSF. Okay, and it went up by so much. So you imagine April versus May. Within a month, the growth rate would have been so much different. Let me just show you. So now, based on May 2020, growth rate is 28 versus 15. If I have shifted this over to April, where's my April? Okay, can you see the difference now? Freehold is 7%, leasehold is 15. Within 1 month difference, now I am telling you an entirely different story. I am saying that leasehold is a better buy than freehold. So in this case, you will notice monthly may not be the best representation of the chart, because sometimes there are very drastic changes within a month or two, and also they are very much affected by the transactions that happen then in that individual month. Maybe just nice that month there was a new launch for freehold, okay, and then that would have helped to push up the growth rate by a lot. Or that particular month, the unit sizes that were sold were all very small, so per square foot very high. And then the next month, because all the small units were sold out, you left all the big units, and the big units per square foot are so much lower. So that would have caused a lot of difference in terms of the prices also. Of course, yes, you can filter by the sizes. Okay, this would help to prevent drastic drop or increases based on the property size. Okay, but of course, there's also all the other factors, right? So usually what I would recommend you guys when you are using the market trend chart, don't just look at monthly, please refer to quarterly or yearly as well. Okay, and also take note of the time period here. Usually, if let's say you are looking at monthly, try not to include the last month, okay, because the last month usually is incompleted yet. So just like now we are on May 20th, the transactions probably still show until mid-May or early May. So the numbers are still not complete. It may not be most representative, right? Okay. So of course, another thing you can toggle is the volume. So this is how the volume is. If you want to know which one has a higher transaction volume, you can toggle. This is by monthly, so you can see that May is not out yet, but April we are looking at 118 freehold units versus 409 leasehold units. Okay, so there's more volume happening for leasehold, which is pretty expected because freehold limited land, right? Limited freehold. But let's toggle to quarterly and take a look. Okay. When you toggle to quarterly, let me go back to the average price again. You would notice that because a few months are counted into each quarter, the trend lines are generally more not so erratic. They are flatter or more gradual, and it usually is able to portray a clearer or a more realistic and fairer view of whether a particular line is better than the other or not. Okay, which one is doing better? So in this case, based on this time period, 2011 to 2020, of course you can always toggle to somewhere recent so that you're comparing the same time period. So over here you can see based on, let's say, last 3 years or so. Let me go to 17. Okay, based on last 3 years, we are looking at 18 versus 18. So you see this two is pretty much the same. Of course, it still depends on the time period. Okay, so you can see every month that I shift or every quarter that I shift, the growth rate would be different. So your job here really, when you are comparing monthly, quarterly, and yearly, of course, the best situation would be all three, monthly, quarterly, yearly, shows you a similar direction in terms of the growth rate. If all of them says leasehold is better, then it's a very clear leasehold is better than freehold. If all of them says freehold is better than leasehold, then it is also very clear that freehold is doing better than leasehold. Okay, if not, try and refer to the quarterly and yearly. These two would be more representative as compared to monthly, which can be affected very drastically by the start and end month, okay, in terms of the growth rate. So do take note on all these when you are finding out when you are comparing different trend lines, okay. So in this case, I would say, let me just go to yearly to show you now. So I would say that in terms of growth rate, let me all use a long time period based on last 10 years, okay. We are looking at 97 freehold versus 136 leasehold, okay. If we move to quarterly, same time period all the way to the end, about 25 years thereabouts. 152 versus 163. Again, leasehold is the winner here. Okay, and then of course monthly. Let's go back to monthly and go all the way. Okay, 184 versus 169. So you see this one is slightly different because remember we accounted for May 2020. That's one thing. Okay, so let me just shift a little bit earlier. Oops. Okay, let me just shift somewhere one more month or so. Okay, so 139 versus 169. So all in all, I would say that they are all leaning towards leasehold growing faster than freehold. Of course, there are other factors that affects this. I wouldn't say that freehold is always better or leasehold is always better. Rather, there are other factors. So this is actually based on all sales, right? So you will notice if you think about it, freehold is long time ago, the land is being passed down. So in order for a freehold to become a new launch, it can only happen when it is a en bloc case, right? Or a land being passed down from long time ago. However, for new launches, most of them are actually your government land sales. And government land sales are only 99, right? And also, government land sales, there are also quite a number which are nearer to amenities because that's how the government arranged the placement of the, say, MRT and the placement of the land, right? So overall, you will notice because there are more new launches that are 99, okay, that would actually help to bring up the growth rate, because the prices for new launches are increasing in the recent years. Okay, so if you want to compare apple to apple, you can also adjust to new sales versus new sales. Okay, that could help. If let's say you are doing new launches for a freehold, does it mean that it will lose based on what we show you earlier? The answer is no. So if you do a freehold apartment condo, let's try new sales versus a resale. Both also new sales, but this is 999. Okay, let me just compare. Chongfu, you can't see my chart. Can you still do you still see it now? If you cannot, can you let us know again, or anyone who can't see the chart as well? Okay, so I am comparing freehold versus leasehold. The only difference is the tenure. Everything else is the same, and these are all new sales. The new sales, apartment condo, freehold versus leasehold. Okay, so you can see that the trend line now is a bit different already. Okay, same thing. I don't want to include May 2020. Maybe something March. Okay lah. Okay 184 versus 156. So in this case, if we are looking all at new sales, freehold seems to be doing better. Okay, but let's just be fair and look at quarterly and yearly as well. Okay, and I also push all the way. Same thing, if you are looking at freehold new launches, 209 versus 171. Seems like freehold new launches are a better investment in a way. Okay, and then let's see yearly. Is it truly the case for yearly as well? Okay. Okay, so it seems that if you are comparing it based on a yearly basis, actually freehold new launches versus leasehold new launches is about the same, just a 1% difference only. So technically speaking, if you ask me based on my opinion, it doesn't really matter whether it is a freehold or a leasehold. What matters is where you are buying. The location is what matters most. So maybe what you can compare also, for example, right? I did some comparison between projects. Let's say we are looking at Pasir Ris area. Okay, so if you're looking at Pasir Ris, maybe for example Elias Green. Elias Green is a freehold, maybe about 15 minutes walk from the MRT, versus Coco Palms, which is right beside the MRT, maybe 5 minutes walk, and that is a leasehold. Chances are, if you compare these two projects, the growth rate for the leasehold would be better because of the location. Okay, you can go and try it out yourself. Even without trying, I am quite sure that is how it is right now. Okay, and it really is not just subjected to Pasir Ris area, any location. If you are comparing freehold versus leasehold, of course, there are other factors like the age and all that. But all in all, what matters most is still the location over the tenure. Okay. Power ST33R. No, I can't toggle to median pricing. All of the prices here are based on average only. Okay, of course there are transactions, because our details are all taken from URA caveats. So if there are any transactions that are really outliers, they would have already been removed by URA. Okay, so it should be pretty much a fair representation. Of course, if you wish to zoom in to a certain size or something, you can always adjust the size, and that would help to have your prices more accurately represented. Okay, and then if you want to toggle to volume, it will be over here, the next button here, that will be volume. Okay, now let's try something else. I'm going to reset everything. Another question that most of you might face would be new launch versus resale, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep the tenure the same now, just so that we don't have so many variables when we are comparing. Okay, so I'm going to do a new sales versus resale. Okay, so let's say new sales versus, I'll just use apartment condo. Okay, versus resale, right? Okay. Okay. So all in all, you will notice that the new sales is usually more expensive in terms of per square foot. So you will need to justify why should your buyer buy a new launch over a resale. Okay, very common. Okay, I could always get a resale, much lower PSF, bigger unit, same location. Okay, and so this is the answer for you. Same thing. This is based on last 3 years. Okay, last 3 years, and the growth rate looks pretty much the same, 15 versus 13%. The red color is your new launches, and your resale is your uh, resale. Okay, but same thing, you will notice when you are looking at monthly, the up and down can be pretty erratic. So usually we would recommend to shift the last month away. So you can see for April, the gap and the gap for May is so different. So if I had shifted that one more month, the percentage would have affected by a lot. 11% versus 3%. Okay, so is it really the case? The best way is really to toggle to quarterly and yearly as well. Hazel, the only way you can get the percentage increase the growth rate is to shift the time slider on the top here. So there's two sliders, right? You can shift this and this. Shift to the time period that you are looking at, and you'll be able to see the growth rate based on that time period. Okay? So over here, this is quarterly. Let me just shift all the way to the time bar. And you can see that if let's say we are looking at last 10 years, last 25 years, the growth rate for the new sales is 161 versus 115 for resale. Okay, so like I mentioned, if let's say Hazel, I'm looking at a certain time period in the middle, when I change this, the growth rate will change accordingly also. So you can always set how far away, or are you looking at the most recent 5 years, somewhere in the center, and that could also correlate with what happened at that point in time. Was it SARS? Was it a financial crisis or something? Okay. Okay, and then lastly, we can also compare by yearly. Okay, so always remember to test all three, monthly, quarterly, yearly, to look at the growth rate, and also make sure that the time period that you are comparing for all three is about the same. Of course, sometimes it's very hard to be exactly the same, because monthly can go all the way to the individual month, quarterly will stop at each quarter, right? And yearly would stop at 2019, and then 2020, nothing yet. Okay, so it really depends on how far you want to compare, and you will see that the growth rate is different. So in this case, my comparison here, it does seem that freehold, okay, sorry, it does seem that the new sales, regardless whether I have moved from monthly, quarterly, yearly, generally speaking, all the new sales would be doing better than the resale because the prices keep going up. So if I had invested the same amount of money right at the start, for example here, right? So here you can see both are about the same prices. Long time ago, your new launch and your resale sama-sama about the same price. However, over time, there is a gap. Okay, so it may actually make sense to buy a new launch over a resale in this case. Now, let me just do an example here. Okay, so let's say you are serving a client. Okay, and your client says that I don't know whether should I upgrade from a 4-room to a 5-room, or should I buy an apartment condo, or should I even consider a landed? Okay, so let's do a comparison for the different types here. Apartment condo versus what's the other one? HDB. Okay, HDB, all HDB, and let's do one more, which is landed. Okay, of course you can play around with all the different variables. Okay, so now I am comparing different property types. Let me put this in and let me do a search. Yes, regardless, Chongfu, okay, regardless of the time period you are looking at, even yearly you can adjust. Of course, it will adjust by year lah. Okay, if you're in quarterly, it will adjust by quarterly, and if you are in monthly, you can shift the time bar in a per month basis. Okay, so here you can see I'm comparing three things: apartment condo, HDB green color, and landed blue color. Okay, and you can see the growth rate here based on last 3 years is 21, -1, and 18. Okay, so overall, if I don't do any shifting of the time period and all that, I can see that HDB is very, very flat. It's almost like the hospital like that. Okay, and then it can be seen through the growth rate. It is a -1, not a lot, not very drastic, but pretty much straight lah, huh? The other two, we are looking at 21 versus 18%. So both of them are pretty much healthy and pretty much the same. Okay, so let's look at, let's pull all the way to the last 20 over years to see what's the difference. Okay. So this is May 1995 all the way until now, so last 25 years. So do take note, our HDB transaction records only start from 2002. So that's why the initial you don't see a green color line. Okay. However, in terms of the other two, you can see the growth rate for all three from 0.1 all the way until now. 155 for apartment condo. HDB grew by about 93% and landed grew by 106%. Okay. But of course, now HDB is different. If you remember the earlier one before I shifted the time bar, as we move towards the end, the growth rate is so much different now. Okay, HDB resale has pretty much gone very, very slow. Okay. Now, of course, same thing, toggle to quarterly and yearly again. This would help you to understand the chart a little bit better and make sure that it is truly representative of the numbers. Okay, so over here, same thing, I pull all the way just for comparison's sake. 142, 91, 111. So all three, you will notice monthly, quarterly, yearly would have said somewhat similar in terms of the growth percentage and direction. Okay, 100, 92, 97. Okay, however, once you shift the time bar to, let's say, last 5 years, you can see that it would have been better to invest your money in a private or landed as compared to HDB. Okay. Felicia, yes. If you want to compare industrial and commercial property, you can do so as well. You will notice, even though I always do residential, for example, but you can also toggle to other property types. Let me just show you. So let me close everything. I will do a reset. Okay. Yeah, let me reset everything. Pretty, is it? Pretty from PropNext. Unfortunately, we are not able to, because if you are looking at HDB transactions, there isn't, you can't actually, or we are not able to get hold of the transactions before 2002. Yeah, so that is why we couldn't put it in. Okay, so if let's say I have a client, my client says, I don't know, should I buy commercial or should I buy industrial? Or you can even go down to the subtype if you want to. Okay, So let's say I choose commercial versus, let me just compare two versus industrial. How are they doing in terms of the pricing now? Okay, let me compare. So same thing, always make sure you are comparing correctly here. Okay, and you can see that the industrial is definitely cheaper at the bottom, and the growth rate seems to be more jialat. Okay, more negative. Let's just go to quarterly and yearly. Is it the case again? -5, -2. Okay, this two seems to bring the prices more towards the same direction. And we go by yearly, 76 minus -10. So if you have a client who is considering between commercial versus industrial, looking at all three monthly, quarterly, and yearly, I would say that the commercial is doing better. Of course, you can further zoom down to compare the subtypes. It could be shophouse versus industrial B1, industrial warehouse, something like that. And it could be a different story altogether again. Okay? So you can compare like that as well. Let me just do other examples. Okay. So sometimes your client is asking you which tenure to buy. Should I buy freehold, leasehold? And then also we have the answer on the question on which property type or subtype should we buy. Okay. And then after that, it will be the question on which location should I buy. Okay. So maybe you are comparing, should I buy district 9, 10, 11? Okay, let me just put in something lah. I just stick to apartment condo. Okay, or should I buy let's say suburban? Okay, 18, 19, 28, the northeast region. Okay, and usually I like to do this one more. Okay, so maybe I might be comparing 2 or 3. I could also do one which is all district, which means to say I'm comparing with the whole of Singapore. Yeah, so let's see how it works out. Okay, so 9, 10, 11 versus 18, 19. Where did my 28 go? Never mind. Okay, 18, 19, and then versus whole of Singapore. Let's see how it is. So you can see here the growth rate, 20%, 33, and 21. 21 is the whole of Singapore average, right? So if the percentage of that particular district, the growth rate is lower than the whole of Singapore, maybe that location is not doing as well. So you should be trying to find a location that is doing at least about the same or better than the whole of Singapore. Okay, then you'll know that that location is a good location to invest in in a way. So if let's say you're doing new launches, you can also decide where you want to focus your efforts on. Maybe you can say that, oh, I found out that the northeast area is doing better than the whole of Singapore. So I create this chart and then I will show it to my client to say on overall it is doing better than the whole of Singapore. Or in fact, in this case, if I had parked my money in the whole of Singapore, okay, general Singapore versus town area. So if you had thought that the town area is doing better, it seems to not be the case lah, in this case. Of course, remember again, I know I'm very low-so, but I always say, please toggle to quarterly and yearly to make sure that the trend lines speak the same thing. Okay. So same thing, it seems that the town area growth rate is slower, okay, compared to if I had gone for a outside core region, 41%. Okay, so apparently if you look at it, the northeast area is doing better than the whole of Singapore on average. Okay, and it's doing better than the town area. So if I had a lot of money, maybe I park here is better than I park here. Okay, I park in the outside core region is better than within core region. Okay, and then we look at yearly as well. Okay, 88, 114, 101, same thing. So you will notice if you toggle all three and all monthly, quarterly, yearly, shows you pretty much the same direction, which one is better than the other. I think it is a very clear answer. If not, I would rather you rely on the numbers for quarterly and yearly over monthly. Okay, because monthly it is really dependent on, oh, that month there was a new launch and then it brought up the price by a lot. You won't know. Okay, so it will be better to rely on quarterly or yearly if the monthly numbers do not go in the same direction. Okay, so when you mouse over, all this is interactive. You can also choose to take out certain lines if you want to. All this is interactive. Okay, and also to let you guys know, if you want to download the individual charts, it can be done at the side here. Okay, of course, once you download it, it won't be interactive anymore. Okay, so if let's say you want certain mouse over effect, it would be better for you to do a screenshot instead. Okay, so basically there's a lot of things you can do when you are comparing. You can compare the size also. It could be, oh, is the 1 bedroom doing better in terms of rental versus the 2 bedrooms? You can derive a line for that as well. Okay, and which location, which type of sale, a lot of combination which can answer a lot of questions that your client might have for you. Let me just quickly toggle back to the slides. Okay, quick refresher before we move on to the quiz. And then meanwhile, if you all have any questions for me, feel free to put it inside the live chat. Okay. Okay, so over here we have the what we have went through just now. You can determine the price and volume trend. These are the things that you can put in. Project, street name, tenure. Just take note, because just now we have mentioned that we have increased the time period to up to 25 years. However, for project at the moment only still last 10 years. So if you want the trend line to go beyond last 10 years for project, you need to either go to research. Under the dashboard there is the trend for that project all the way from 1995 onwards, as early as 95, or you can use another tool called compare. Again, that one would allow you to go much earlier in time. Okay, so you can have different combinations of the different filters: property type, district, region, transaction type, and even the property size range. So like I mentioned, the time slider on the top here, you can pull all the way to last 25 years or last 10 years for individual projects. Oh, and one more, actually you can click on all the individual bars. Later I'll show you guys on the live screen. So when you click on the individual monthly bars or quarterly or even yearly bars, that's the volume, right? It will actually show you the project transactions that happen. Okay, even if it's resale, they will tell you which project lah. Okay, and then also when you click on it further, you drill down, it will show you the actual transactions that happen down to the unit number. Okay, when you do comparison, remember to click on compare with other property types, and you'll be able to compare up to maximum 3 trend lines. And you will also see the growth rate for each of the trend lines. So if you shift the slider, the growth rate will change based on the time period of the slider. Okay, and of course we have the monthly, quarterly, and yearly, which is a new feature. Okay, so these are some of the common questions you can answer using market trend: freehold versus leasehold, new launch versus resale. You can compare project to project as well. You can compare property types or subtypes. You can even do maybe big HDB versus small HDB. Okay, with the subtypes, you can compare by district, you can compare by sizes as well. Okay, so let me just toggle back. I missed that part out. Let me just show you guys again. Okay, so if you are on the trend line, okay, or you can toggle to volume also. Okay, when you click on all these bars here, okay, it would actually allow you to see the transactions that happen in that particular year or in that particular month. So just now, you would notice if I am already on the specific district, for example, so you have different colors, right? By clicking on the different colors, it will show me the different districts as well. So just now, when I click on the top, the red color, all the transactions would be from the particular districts that I have selected, which in this case is D9, 10, and 11. Okay, so you can see all the district here is 9, 10, 11. Okay, and apparently for this particular time period that I selected, the project with the highest number of transactions is Soleil at Cineren. Okay, 332 transactions, and you can click on it further. It will show you the actual transactions that happen. Okay, so you can see the unit number, you can see whether it's a sub sale or new sale. At that point in time, because this is 2007, I clicked on that year. Okay, so you can see the prices that they paid for at that point in time as well. Okay, so you can always click back or you can close it, and then it will go back to the chart again. Okay, so even if I'm on average price, I can also click on the different markers to see the transactions as well. Okay, so you need not always be on volume. If you want to click on the price trend, also can. Okay, so in this particular month that I click, Sophia Hill is the one with the highest number of transactions. Okay, so what is all this? Just to let you guys know, the transaction value, minimum price, average, and maximum. This is at that month, the breakdown in terms of the pricing per square foot for this project. And total, these 310 transactions in terms of overall price value, we are looking at 447 million plus. Okay, and then when you click in, it will break down to the individual unit numbers. Okay, so same thing, you have unit number, these are new sales, and these are the individual pricing. Yeah, now let me answer a few more questions and then we can move on. So Tian Sing can also compare rental yield, right? Okay, this one I would say that, let me just show you lah, rather than explain. Let me just do all type here. Yeah, so I'm selecting apartment condo rental. Okay, if let's say I'm just doing rental trends for apartment condo. Okay, this is the trend, right? Okay, so we'll tell you how many rentals that happen, and then when you click on it, it will also show you the rental transactions that happen in that month, quarter, or year. Okay. Okay, let me see. YOLO, no, we do not have HDB shophouse transactions, unfortunately, but we have private shophouses. Okay, private shophouse we have, HDB shophouse we don't have the transaction details. Amos, let me see, just click in. Is there any way to compare profit loss holding new launch versus resale for 5 to 10 years? Profit and loss. Over here, when we are looking at market trends, we really just look at the growth rate. But whether profit or loss, you need to actually zoom into that particular project. So my suggestion is maybe you might want to look at research under the sales transaction tab. There is a section which identifies the profitable and unprofitable transactions. So you can look at it, you can set the time period and look at the transactions that were profitable or unprofitable. But over here is just the growth rate of the pricing. Okay. Okay, so anyway, back to the question on the rental. So when you click on it, you can see the rental transactions that happen for that particular project per se. Okay, and however, okay, if let's say I'm doing a comparison, I want to know apartment condo rental versus HDB rental. Okay, easy one. Okay, same rental. Okay. Yeah. We'll show the percentage rental returns for different resale. Wow, a bit cheap. Wait, wait. Okay, so all these is rental. Okay, when you mouse over, it is the rental per square foot per month. Okay, PSF PM per square foot per month. So you can see the growth rate also. This is the growth rate for rental. Okay, so here you can see that if I had invested in a apartment condo, my rental went up by about 5% based on last 3 years. However, if I had HDB, my rental actually went down by 2% in the last 3 years. Okay, so but of course, same thing, toggle to quarterly and yearly. So Chi Man Yun, I think that answers your question, right? Hazel, what is the difference between market trend and research? Hazel, research is the home report. Okay, so maybe just quickly to show you guys. Of course, if you want, you can attend our next training for research. Okay, research is over here under tools also. It is a home report. Okay, so when you are looking at the trends within the home report, let me just show you. So you key in the project name, click on the drop down. Okay, where am I talking about? Let me just show you where is it. But of course, if you want to know a little bit more about research, you have to attend the next training. Okay, so we are under the first header here called dashboard. You have the project fact sheet, but what you can see here is the price trend for that particular project, and it is made up by all the individual transactions that happen. Okay, and there's even the asking price here, and this time period could go as early as when it was launched. Okay, as early as 1995 for private property. Okay, and you also have, so this is based on the individual transactions, and then you also have the monthly price range and volume here. Okay, and this is based on the time period that was set in your options, so you can customize this time period here. And then there's also a rental trends here. Okay, so if you are looking at individual project trends, you can also use research. Okay, and the time period can be adjusted under report option here. So if let's say I look at last 5 years, the trend would look very different as well. Okay, let me just show you. So now I adjusted to last 5 years. Okay, let it load first. Okay, and you can see that the trend line is quite different. Just now it was curving upwards because we are looking at since day one of the transaction. Now it is more straight based on last 5 years. Okay, and then you can see that the volume bars is also fatter here because we are looking at a shorter time period. Okay, and then just now there was a question on the profitable, unprofitable. So you can actually toggle to sales transaction. We identify the individual units that make money or lose money based on the time period that you selected as well. Okay. Okay, Linda, last question. On EC, if I select 10 years all private resale trend, okay, do you exclude the first 5 years of EC data as it is not MOP yet? Reason being the EC launch price is lower and shoot up after 5 years. Okay, Linda, if you do not wish to include the prices before a certain time period, so basically, right, for EC, we will have all the transactions since day one. So direct from developer, 5 years. You even when it is not yet built yet, right? So it's still the show flat phase. So those prices are generally more attractive because it is subsidized, right? So if you don't want to include those, then you just take away the new sales. So remember, under transaction type, you just select resale. Okay? And usually because for EC, during the first 5 years of staying, they can't exactly sell it away also. It's only from the 5th year onwards, then they can sell to Singaporeans or PRs, and then 10 years onwards, it will become privatized. So if you want to make any further changes, you need to adjust the time period accordingly so that you don't include certain things. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I will move on to the quiz. So I will need you guys to go to menti.com, okay, menti.com, and key in the code 387651. Okay, meanwhile, if you all have any more questions or need to further clarify, you can still put it in the live chat, but I will still basically wait while waiting for all of you to join our quiz lah, huh? YOLO, no. For our trend or for market trends, we don't have the function, or we did not include the function for you to draw lines. So if you wish to know the growth rate from a certain point to a certain point, all you need to do is to shift the slider. Okay? So I have 7 people now, 9. Okay. Wow, block nose. Can you all hear how blocked my nose is from here? The being very strong. Okay, Shirley, is it possible able to check what is the percentage of sold and unsold units? Shirley, no. At the moment, we don't have info on the sold and unsold units of a project. Boon, one more question. How do you calculate the average growth rate? So the growth rate will be based on the time period that you selected. Let me just go back to market trend. Let me show you. Okay. Okay. So example, this is your chart and the growth rate is 21%, right? Okay, 21%. So this 21% is based on this time period, July 2011 to April 2020. Okay, so where is July 2011? It is the very first quarter here. Okay, and you can see that the average price is 854 per square foot, right? Okay, and the last time period is April 2020, which is this one here, which is 1030 PSF. So 854, you add another 21%, it would be 1030. So this is how we work out the growth rate. So technically speaking, the line if you draw is from here all the way to here. Okay, this point all the way to this point here. That is how we work out the growth rate. So of course, if you have shifted the time period to something else, okay, then say example April 03 to January 15, it will be same, the first dot all the way to the last dot here. Okay. Okay, since there's no more questions, let's move on to the quiz. We have 40 over people now. Where's everyone else? Every time I wonder, I have more, maybe like half of the people don't join quiz. Okay, so I'm going to start with the questions. Fastest fingers first also, other than answering it correctly. If you are fast, you get more points. And the top 5 winners will walk away with a reusable cutlery set worth $12.90. Okay, so do join us. Okay, and the first one, which is not one of the search filters. So I went through quite a number of filters on the top. Which one is not inside the list just now? Okay, wow, okay, great. Most of you got it right. The answer is transaction price. You can't filter by pricing, but everything else is actually inside already. Okay, let's see who is leading right now. We have Cheese, Ingwen, CK Liao, Iris, and Z. You guys are the top 5 at the moment. Well done. Next question. Okay. Are you able to select by CCR, OCR, or RCR or not? Can you remember? I did mention this. Can or cannot? Three, two, one, zero. Okay, the answer, ayo, half of you got it wrong, very bad. Okay, so if you recall, or should I just toggle away, I toggle away for you all to see. If you go up to the top here, the filter, you can select by district or region, but the region is broken down into central, east, north, northeast, and west. We did not break it down into your CCR, OCR, RCR because there's overlap with the district. Okay, so you either go by the regions that we have indicated or by the district. Okay, so let's see, is there any changes to my leaderboard now? Oh, the fastest I think, the fastest is CK Liao, okay, followed by Iris, Z, and BT. My cheese 跑到后面了。Okay, well done, CK. How many trends can you compare up to? Remember, I click on compare with other property types. I can compare 2, 3, or 4. Can you remember how many in total? Maximum how many trends can you compare? Ta-da! Okay, well done. Most of you got it right. Total 3, you can compare up to 3. If let's say you want to compare projects, my recommendation is to compare, you can also use another tool called compare. That will allow you to compare up to 10 projects, okay? If you use market trend, only 3, but if you use compare, you can compare up to 10, okay? Just take note, only market trends have the growth rate percentage. Okay, next one. Let's see who's leading. Any changes to my winners? We have Iris, Z, BT. Oh, Z is on the top now. Iris, BT, Center, and Cheese. What is the maximum time period you can set? This one, if you had answered this same question the last round during training, there is changes. So this is my hint to you. It used to be a certain time period. Now we extended this time period, so it went up. What is the longest time period you can look at? Correct, 25 years. So as early as 1995, because really our transactions from URA is from 95 onwards. So we were able to extend up to about May 1995. Okay. So we still have Z that is leading, I think. Z, Center, BT, Cheese, and MN. Okay. I can see the transactions for a specific month, quarter, yearly by clicking on the chart transactions. Can I click on the different chart to see where these transactions come from which project, from which unit number? Can or cannot? Yeah, okay, so most of you got it right. You just need to click on the trend line or click on the volume bar. You will be able to filter down to see what are the transactions that make up that particular trend or volume, okay? So most of you got it right. We seems to be, let's see who else is leading now. Okay, so no changes. Congratulations to Alien Z. You are the top winner. Of course, we award the same prize to the top 5. So we have Z, Santa, BT, Cheese, and MN. Please take a screenshot of your own screen with your own name and your own icon and points. Send it to us, okay? So my account manager is going to put inside the live chat the number that you should send the screenshot to, and we will arrange to mail you the reusable cutlery set. Okay, so we won't face to face look for you. We will mail it to you. Okay, so congrats to all our top 5 winners: Z, Santa, BT, Cheese, and MN. Well done. I hope you guys learned a thing or two today during our training today. And just a quick recap on today's promotion. Okay, quick recap on the promotion. Let me see, just to show you guys what you can get if you sign up today. Okay, so 20% off Pro Tools and all prop points until 6 p.m. today. So if let's say you guys are keen to sign up after today's training, please look for your respective account managers. Okay, and remember, for those of you who won the quiz, remember to take a snapshot of your winning. Okay, so thank you everyone. I hope you picked up a thing or two today, and remember to like our video and also subscribe to our channel. And that's it for this week. So moving forward, we will still continue to have training on every Tuesday and Wednesday until I can officially go back to office, which I don't know when that is it. Okay, so as of now, even with the new announcement of the end of the circuit breaker on the 1st of June, I foresee that we would still be pretty much stuck at home. So training will still continue to go on every Tuesday and Wednesday on one topic. So do check out the events page for updates on training topics and schedule. Okay, or check with your account managers for more information. Thank you everyone, and have a good rest of the Wednesday. Bye bye.